Good morning, welcome to Subjective. I am thrilled and honoured to be talking to the wonderful Susie Bick this morning. Good morning, Susie.
Morning.
How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Good. So this is the next series of pictures I'm going to show you, so
Okay.
do it that way. Can you see those?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's Mr. Bailey.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
David Bailey or Bailey.
Bailey?
Sure.
Yeah.
Can you tell me, because that's quite a big part of your career.
Oh yeah. It was
So-
probably about 7 years I worked with him.
Right, wow.
Sort of like almost every day. I mean, it was quite amazing.
He loved you.
Again, I was very young. I was like 18. My agent sent me to see him. They said, if he's rude to you, just leave.
And he wasn't rude to you?
No, not at all.
Really?
He was just so lovely. The funny thing was when he met me, he went, I like you. He said,
Good start.
You're funny looking.
Right.
Like that. He said,
He's never normally that nice from what I
no, he was so nice. He was just like, and he just said, would you like to work with me? And I went, I would love to work with you. And he went, would you like to work with me a lot? From that day on, it was Bailey, Catherine and I were on nearly every shoot, and we'd go off to Italy, we'd go to France, we worked together for like 7 years, like a little gang. I just felt so lucky. I mean, he taught me so much. Also, always wanted, I feel like this is similar to you, that he always wanted the model to be her best. Like if the makeup and hair sort of hadn't done that, he wouldn't have it. You know, you had to go back and be, he wanted you to look, you know, that was the most important thing for him, which I thought was really, that's very different, I think, to a lot of people. That whole way of, the way he's sort of communicate as he's taking the photos, you know, to sort of, you know, get that sparkle going or whatever he wanted from you.
But so I'm going to push you on this.
Okay.
So how did he communicate? So I've never, well actually I have been photographed by Bailey, but that's a different story. How did he make you, what did he say to you? How was he talking to you?
He's just funny, just so funny all the time. Just his sort of sarcasm, his kind of humor, his, you know, sometimes, you know, he was so, like, sometimes he'd be very gentle and very sort of sweet the way he was talking. Sometimes he'd be like, what the hell do you call those for fingers? Bloody chipolatas, put them away. Or your ears are sticking out, what's going on? You know, can you tape her ears back, please? They just look, you know. He'd be very funny like that, which would just make me laugh. I just thought he was so funny. And not, obviously I couldn't laugh because I'm having my picture taken, so you're sort of like, you're kind of like very restrained, but obviously there's something coming through because he's sort of, he's entertaining all the time in a way. A fight broke out in the middle of that with the makeup artist and the assistant.
Oh wow.
So there was blood, there was...
Like a fist fight?
Yes.
Crikey, how did it come to that?
It was kind of crazy in those days. We were in a hotel and Paul Goebel, who was this incredibly charismatic, wonderful makeup artist, had an argument with Bailey's assistant, Adrian, and sort of attacked him with a makeup brush, which caused some bleeding. And there was literally a kind of fight going on.
Should have just swiveled the camera, kept you in frame, and then swiveled onto the fight.
Shooting.
Yeah.
He was just like, well, what, you know, I mean, it was, and then obviously stopped and we sorted it out, but they sorted it out. But in those days, it was kind of like that. Like everybody was just sort of flying by the seat of your pants on a shoot. I don't think there was ever really a plan. No. You know, it was just put the clothes on, whatever happens with the makeup, you know, and just capturing it. I love Bailey. I mean, I loved him then, I love him now. I think he's incredible. And it feels like, I mean, for me, I have to say that the fashion world saved me. I had a much more kind of troubled time before I was in the fashion business with certain things that happened to me as a young girl. And nothing ever happened to me within, oh God, I was modeling from the age of 15 till I was 33, and I've never had anything kind of like those things that I've heard about with Me Too and all of that. All the people I ever worked with, I've never had anything kind of happen or...
Well, I mean, that's,
you know,
that's the thing.
Luckily for me, but obviously it's, it is, you know, you hear about these things.
It happens in all different industries. It happens in sport, it happens in film. So unfortunately, wherever you get a sort of imbalance of power dynamic, where you've got a model who's, you know, young, and is also, she's got everything, he or she has got everything to gain from doing what the photographer asks, whether it's financially or whether it's in terms of their career, and you've got a very well-established photographer or stylist or designer, you've got this huge power imbalance.
It is an industry with a lot of young girls and vulnerable people, and a lot of the fashion industry are people who may not have fitted into things in their life, and they they're vulnerable people. They're interesting, creative, vulnerable people. So
you've got a lot of very, how to put it, misfits.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to bring me into a film you did with David Bailey. I'll show you the one. The Anti-Fur film.
Yeah.
Which is a great film.
Yeah. That was, he just said one day, he's like, you like animals, don't you, Susie? And I was like, yeah. He went, okay, good, you can do this film with me. I had no idea that it was an anti-fur campaign.
Yeah.
So we all turned up, and he put all these like tubes in my coat that splayed out blood when I spun around and stuff. And we filmed that over a couple of days in Westway Studios.
Right, okay. But it looks like Jean-Paul Gaultier's in the audience, and it looks like Gianni Versace's in the audience.
It could be.
Because he was working for Versace.
It could be, or it could be like lookalikes.
Right,
it could
okay.
be.
So only flashed
like that
by.
Maybe they could be them.
Right.
I'm not quite sure. I'd have to have a look.
It's this great sort of va-va-voom moment where you step onto a catwalk and glide
spin
down
around and blood splatters the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was,
It was
like the first anti-fur kind of, it was all on the cinemas and in between going to the movies, going to see a film, it was all on. Yeah, amazing.
But it was a very powerful film, especially at the time. And that being said, you also appeared in another film, I believe, but this is a film
got any clothes on.
directed by Zimmermann.
Right, yes.
About Francis Bacon's life.
Yes.
It's got Daniel Craig in
when
it.
he was very new.
Yes, exactly. Did you consciously think, I want to get into film?
I would have loved to have been an actress.
Right,
but I left it too late. I did go to RADA and study Shakespeare one summer, which was amazing.
Honestly, I'm not trying to be patronising, but you shouldn't think it's too late.
Well, by the time I when
You're
I met
going
my
to go
husband,
forever.
oh, thank you. When I met my husband and we had children, when I met Nick, I was 33 and I wanted to look after my kids and be home and not have any career plans because Nick was travelling all the time, so I just wanted to be a mum, which I loved more than anything.